to the End Time Truth Television, the channel for the lovers of truth, for the truth of the end time. So if you are a lover of truth, give us a subscription and God bless you. Shalom. Hello people, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I greet you in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ. How are you doing today? Now today I want us to reason like Christians. I've been hearing, pastors ranting like thugs, speaking like thugs from the pulpit, and because I still remain the old school kind of believer in Christ Jesus, there are certain things that I find uneasy to accept and difficult to take in. So I want us to talk on forgiveness here. Now there is a video I will show you. There's a video of a man who called off his wedding on the road to the church because of what he discovered about the lady he was to wed that morning. He didn't find out that about the woman that morning. He found it earlier than that day. He waited at the right time, or should I say the wrong time, to make life miserable for this woman. So we're going to look at that in this video. But first and foremost, I want us to look at this thing. There is a post here that we will read together and you will understand where I'm going to. See, forgiveness is paramount, that Jesus didn't joke with it. Jesus was so serious about forgiveness that he echoed it a number of times. Even when he was giving the disciples the guidelines for prayers, he also included it in when they asked him, teach us how to pray. And he began to give them the guidelines. And in the middle of it, he said, forgive us our trespasses as we forgave those who trespassed against us. Now, so there is an idea, that the child of God must ahead of time forgive those that trespassed against him, before even approaching the Lord. And in one place he said, if you brought something before the Lord and you remember, you find out that somebody is displeased with you, not even you being displeased with the person. He said, before you give your gift, drop it at the altar, go first, reconcile with this person and come back. Now, when his disciples, because, the teachings on forgiveness is very difficult, it's hard. There are some offenses that you may find difficult to think you can forgive. I was talking to somebody, on phone, and we were talking, and I wanted to bring out the part of forgiveness. He said, no, don't go there. I've forgiven them, but this one will happen. I understand. I know that the issue of forgiveness in most cases at times used to be very, very hard, very, very difficult. But no matter how difficult it is the will of God for us to forgive. Now, it is that difficult that the apostles needed to ask Jesus, how often should my friends forgive me? Offend me, that I will forgive them. Did you say 7 times? Jesus said, I didn't say 7 times, but I said 70 times 7. And 70 times 7 is about 490 times. Now, some persons do equate in a day, but there is no day there. But even if it is your lifetime, I don't know who will actually offend you 490 times the whole of your lifetime. If a person offends you 20 times in a year, and you are to live 100 years on earth, or let's say somebody, offend you maybe 10 times in a year, let's take 10 times in a year, and you have to live 100 years on earth, that brings it to about 1,000 times. But then, that means you must have a very big diary where you will be writing the offenses that this individual has done against you. That means you will begin to write, on the 19th of January 2024, she gossiped about me, number 1. Then again, the next time. Now, is it even possible that you and the person, not your partner, not the person you live together with, not the person you work in the same place with, that the two of you will meet 490 times in a year, and that person offends you that 490 times? Every time he sees you, he offends you. It's not possible. Yeah, there are those that could be enemies. So what Jesus was saying in a nutshell is, don't count offense. Forgive. Immediately forgive. Now, one thing that happens to me, someone like me, is that if I don't forgive an offense, become a slave to the person who has offended me. You see, it will be so serious that if I see the person, I'll almost wish like I never saw the person. I'll almost blame myself. Why did I have to pass through this place? And sometimes, we can have evil thoughts. And sometimes you feel like how you wish you had the power to make the earth open so that person will go in, you bury the person alive. So the best way to do it is to do what? Forgive. So my take would be, instead of me being a slave to this person, it is better for me to, forgive the person and let go. And the Bible clearly asks us a question, because there are things that God has asked us to do. Is it actually for his own good that he has us to do certain things? No, it's not. It's for our own good. When the Lord said, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this, if the world has abided by those commandments, we'll have a very good world, a better world, and a better life, for everybody in the world. But because we fail, now we get into trouble. So I saw this post made by a DSP Bright Edafe, PPRO Delta State police officer, and I read it, but it gave me some kind of different understanding. It says, if someone slaps you and you retaliate, he falls and dies, it won't be treated as self-defense. Rather, it will be treated as unintentional murder called manslaughter, which all depends on the result of the autopsy to ascertain the cause of death. But one thing I am sure of is that the suspect will be behind bars for a reasonable time. So, I repeat, be careful of the slogan, no grief for anybody. We are telling you this because we love you and we are truly your friend. Now, the police in Nigeria are not our friends. We just must have to put this, in plain statement. I was riding in a bus that was being driven by a police officer. He didn't give me a lift. I paid. So we were talking, and he also was trying to be on the part of us, the civilians. And I was like, but this, why is it that some of you, your men, would even kill the civilians in the defense of the politicians? He told me that they had no choice, that the government, they are the thugs of the government. That was the word he used. He's a police officer, so the police are not our friends. Now, but there is this slogan that they have said nobody should use again, no grief for anybody. That is, don't accept defeat or don't agree for anybody. Now it means an eye for an eye, a tooth for tooth, sort of. So, but here he is trying to make it clearer that if somebody slaps you and you retaliate by slapping the person back, the person falls down and die, it will be treated as manslaughter. Though there is going to be an autopsy carried out to find out the reason for the person's death. Now, even if you're going to be set free or let go, you are going to spend a very reasonable amount. When a policeman is telling you a reasonable amount of time behind bars, it will be reasonable indeed. Because this reasonable amount of time behind bars could be 2 years, could be 3 years, could be 4-5 years. There are people who are languishing in prison today and their case has not been charged to court. Now, so when I saw this, I compared it with when Jesus said, when you are slapped at this other side, don't argue. He said, turn the other side and receive a slap too. Now that means when you are provoked, when you are pulled, when you are dragged, don't try to be forceful. Don't try, to match force for force. And he says, be as wise as serpent or as harmless as dove. Now, I've always said that Jesus was not implying that when they slapped you first, somebody slapped you here and is going, and you say, oh, hey, please come, you've not finished your assignments. The Lord said you should slap me here again. That's not what it means. There was a story of a guy who was, walking. He had his Bible and, something, minor thing happened. And one of the thugs by the roadside, slapped him. I think he stepped on the person's, toe and he pleaded. The next thing was slap, goes. And this guy, didn't respond. And these people, once they find out this is the kind of a person that is soft, will not respond. So he took it, he enjoyed it, beating the guy. So in the process, the brother's Bible dropped. He quickly ran to pick his Bible. So, and this is Lagos now. Lagos is a place sometimes, not even sometimes, once it is physical combat like that, physical, people mind their business. So as he was beating this guy, the crowd was like, a few of them was like, he's okay now, he's okay, he's okay, he's okay. Now as he was doing it, the brother did not respond. He was only guiding his face. And from nowhere, Hilux pickup, loaded with policemen, came to the scene and stopped, grabbed the two of them. Everybody at that bus stop bore witness to the brother. He didn't do anything. And even at that point in time, he already had started, there was a wound here, was already leaking, his wounds, blood there. And since everybody bore witness that it was this guy that was beating this person, he has not retaliated, he has been beating him since. The policemen let the brother, free, and they took the guy. They started beating him there. Now, you see, and I was talking with the person, I said, if somebody slapped me here and I gave him back immediately, now, if God was to fight for me, he wouldn't fight for me again because I already exacted my own pound of flesh. Now, but if it was something that God was going to fight for me as his child, now what he would do is that if it was a slap God was going to give to him, the size of my palm and that of God is not the same. So the effect of God's slap on this person will be far heavier and more consequential than what mine would be like. So forgiveness is paramount. Don't give a tooth for a tooth because you might not go through. We know that a lot of persons have ended up being murderers because somebody offended them, and in the process they started fighting, and the other person, you don't know whether he has high blood pressure problem, you don't know the condition of his heart, you don't know, the demons may have marked him for, to kill him. In fact, he has been marked for death. They're just waiting for something, because before anybody dies, something must happen. Some persons that are walking on the streets are already dead. That just a splash of water can kill the person, and then the person who splashed the water on him will be in trouble. In light of this, we need to be very, very careful. Now, I want to show you the video I talked about where this guy broke, did something that I found very, very, I don't know how you will see it, but it is very harsh, very, very harsh. No matter what it is the lady in question was supposed to be his wife, and they were going to the altar. And before that day, he found out that the lady was an lesbian person. So watch the video.
Jackie Yawa jáde mo ní mi ò ṣe mọ́ sẹ́ mi ò ṣe mọ́ àti tó ta lọ ọ̀gá ọ̀rẹ́ bá ní ṣòwò dé kó mo ní mi ò ṣe mọ́ òyàwó èyí You don't do it. Let's why they do like this? You know what your face of this guy. No way. Wait. Guy, calm down. People there. I don't
Well, now, when I watched that video, I said that was so wrong. Now, what the girl was doing, you already know that the Bible already condemns it. It's an abomination. And those that do it are abominable unto God. So we cannot, it's not something we can overemphasize on. Or the truth is that I, as a person, would never have treated it that way. Now, the possibility of cancelling the wedding first was there. But even if he doesn't want to marry the girl anymore, it shouldn't have been that way. He should have done what Joseph did. But then, I'm speaking like a Christian. I'm speaking like a born again, a child of God. I'm speaking because that is how I feel that it should be done. But he intentionally, if you understood the language he was speaking there, see, he intentionally allowed it to be on that day so that he would disgrace the girl very, very well. And I asked myself, what did he gain from that? Because even if he was pained, even if he was hurt, that was the girl he fell in love with to marry. Now, that thing he did would not bring him comfort. That thing he did would not have done any good thing to soothe his frayed nerves. That's why I believe that there was a better way that he could have done it. Now, as I watched it with my wife, and I told my wife, I said, this guy didn't love this girl. Now, and with this should teach our internet generation some lessons. Now that marriage is not only done because the lady has big breasts and big nyash, big buttocks. See, men today are dying for big buttocks and big breasts. And let me make you understand, except you are not marrying somebody that will become a mother of children for you, give that breast and buttocks, give it time. When this lady gives birth to children, that breast will not be as interesting as they are now. The buttocks may be so sagged that you will be like, because that was what you saw. You never loved the person in the first place. And so because you never loved the person in the first place, you may not be able to take in whatever weakness, weak point, or what you never envisaged could happen. Now, and the ladies, you see today, girls don't mind. As long as there are cars, as long as there are money to spend, they don't mind where the money is coming from. So they just give in anyhow. And in fact, it has become the number one criteria for more than 80% of girls making decision on who to marry or who to relate with. Because in fact, marriage is even far because not many of them are thinking of marriage. A lot of them are thinking of just the fast life. They're on the fast lane, eat and run. All right. So now this union eventually culminated into them agreeing to marry. If a guy loved the woman enough, I think what he should have done would have been to find out from the lady how best to help her, not to disgrace her like this. And when people take this irrational kind of decision, you don't know that there are chains of people that you have wronged in the process. We wouldn't know the end of this incident that you have just watched. It may not have ended. It could lead that girl committing suicide. It could lead to her, finding a way to get back at the guy, maybe diabolically or even physically harming the guy. It could make a member of the family of this lady to want to say, yes, our daughter was wrong, but you had no right to disgrace the entire family the way you did. So we're going to deal with you. So you never know how all this things ends, So what I think he should have done would have been, hey, I found this thing out, but even though you've hidden it from me, what happened? And the girl would explain. And then solution, there is always a solution for it. There is always a solution. And you see, there is an actress, a Nigerian, a Nollywood actress, who said her own started in her, I think, first or second year in the university. She was introduced into it. And once she ventured into it, the spirit behind it possessed her. But then she has found herself, she has been worked upon and she's free. But then she said she will never, play a role that is suggestive of that kind of life. Because she's afraid that what was buried in her to come up again. So I believe that the best way to do this would have been to help the girl and not to take it out on her the way the young man did. It was so harsh, it was so terrible. Now, what I'm trying to say is that we should learn how to forgive and not how to be vindictive. Now, forgiveness helps us. It helps the person. It helps us as well. I pray that God gives you understanding. And remember, if you are hoping to make heaven at last, you must forgive. Because if you don't forgive, God will not give you a room in heaven. Because if in heaven, you may take offense against the angels of God, and there may be another Satan in heaven. Another war can ensue in heaven if you have this hard heart of stone. Like those of you that are angry at people like me because we have been talking about your purpose, you learn how not to be like that. Offense must come. Know that. But to save your soul, forgive every offense. Thank you and God bless you. Let me know what you think about this video. And if you can share the video, please do. God bless you. See you.